The rest of you don't matter. Um, so if you guys wanted to start with Jean, what are you potentially, I'm not committing you, what are you potentially interested in helping with or getting out of the project?
So I don't know, but the overlap of what I'm working on and my interests, and potentially the community IT project, is in trying to take a lot of the operations stuff that I do for the services group on things like Persona and Firefox accounts,
Mm-hmm.
and get get it into an kind of an open sourced. I mean, the provisioning code we use is open source, but getting it into a state where it would be possible to really have community members helping to do the actual operations. I'm going to be putting together a blog post in the next couple weeks here that kind of summarizes an architecture of an idea of how this could be done, while basically enabling community members to help with operations while at the same time keeping the production environment of an actual production service like Firefox accounts up and running and safe. A way to balance those two things. So that's why I'm here. But I'm also obviously happy to help people and answer questions and work with community members.
Nice, that's great. Do you mind dropping that into the meeting notes yourself? That way I don't have to worry about missing
Sure.
something in the summary. MRZ, you're probably in the best position to make suggestions on how we might involve Gene or where we might need him in the future.
I don't know that I have good answers right now.
Okay.
To think about that some.
All right. Yeah, I know that we did work with getting Persona involved or hooked into Discourse. So it sounds like this might be potentially a future project once we've got the other projects we're working on and more volunteers. I'm asking you if that sounds like the whole working with Persona and keeping it up. Does that fit under community IT mission?
I don't know. I mean, what part of Persona? I actually don't have a good answer there either because I'm not sure where Persona is going from a direction standpoint within Mozilla, right?
Okay.
The idea is more to use it as a test bed, to describe a method to enable community members to help with operations in general. To try to solve the crux of it all, which is how do you have a single production service that's up and running that has secrets associated with it, like SSL private keys and database passwords and stuff, and still have a way for community members to be able to help and contribute without compromising the security of the site by opening up all of those secrets, that kind of thing. But the fact that I'm thinking of Persona as a test, it's unrelated to Persona really. It's just more of trying to use it as an example, see if it works.
Yeah, I would support that. I think we're still iterating on. To back up, I think we're iterating on how to gather the right sort of mentors and construct projects that other people can start to learn from. So I think this would be a good candidate. I think. As someone like Gene is able to help mentor, I think that's the biggest problem. Like, how do you take on more stuff without sufficient mentors?
Yeah, it sounds good to me. I mean, it seems like, if you've taken on a project but there are no mentors, then it makes more sense to sort of put that on the back burner and go with the one that has mentors. Nice.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, great. So, Jean, I would suggest, if you like, besides the blog post, if you want to reach out on Discourse for further discussion with our volunteers, that would be a good next step.
And this is probably my own naivety. I thought Discourse was a a blog commenting application, or is this a different thing with the same name?
Discourse is an alternative discussion forum thing, like mailing groups are using it, but done for 2014.
Okay.
But
so
there's
when you
a
say
plugin.
on Discourse, do you mean like on the Community IT Discourse mailing list or something?
No, the idea was to replace Mailman altogether with something more mature, and Discourse was that tool that we started poking at. Its authentication system is Persona.
Okay. Okay.
So this is that Jeff Atwood project.
Does anybody? Yeah.
So Jean, what you're thinking of is there is a plugin so that you can have blog comments routed to Discourse. So you are correct in that functionality exists, but that's a functionality, not the main purpose. Awesome. Okay, and then we have Justin, and that's Java, yes?
Yep.
And we've roped him in to help with Puppet. So were you able to actually connect with someone this week? Scott kept dropping off IRC.
Well, I talked to Tad a little bit, but just really high level. Didn't get into any specifics really. He did link me to the GitHub account, and I've not looked at it yet really. I'm going through some like busy times right now at work, so I can't commit a whole lot of time right now. But as far as long term, I can definitely help out with mentoring in areas like Puppet, LDAP if you want to go that route. Might talk you out of that too, and monitoring. And things of that nature, a lot of low-level stuff.
A second on talking you out of that.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I totally understand that people are busy, and what I'd like to be able for us to do to accommodate that is to come to you with specific questions, so that if you can only make the meeting or you only have an hour here and there, then we give you the specific question, you answer that, rather than having to set aside lots of time to constantly check our code and be like, hey guys, by the way, you're doing this wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And as things like I said, this is actually just a really particularly busy time at work, but normally I should have a little bit more time to devote, and as I get ramped up, I can probably put in some more help with actually writing code and stuff like that.
Okay, that sounds good. While we're on this topic, I actually didn't put something on the agenda, and so I'm going to do that right now and then talk about it. Using Fabricator. So further down, we should actually talk about maintaining it, but so far in the meetings, we've been focusing on general community building, and I think, especially this call indicates we're starting to do a good job at that. So we should start focusing again on, as MRZ brought up last. We should start focusing on finishing the projects we started and tracking. So, are people still using Fabricator, and are we using it well enough? And one thing I'd like to do regularly for the meetings is have someone go through Fabricator and highlight, not use the meetings to triage Fabricator issues, but someone to pull out a list of stuff that's either dead or being blocked by someone.
Me and Tan have done some cleaning up of just old bugs that we've sort of forgotten about. So I think we've got most of them.
And I assume it's a good idea to get Justin and Jean set up with Fabricator accounts, and that can be one of the ways we ask them for help.
Yeah, I believe they can just sign in and then it'll do the account registration process.
Okay.
With Persona.
All right. Do you want to take on making sure they're all set up and oriented?
Yeah, I can do that.
Awesome. All right. So action items. We don't have too many of us. Let's see who's on the call. No. Okay. So obviously, I finally did the Monday meeting update. I didn't specifically share out the volunteering Etherpad because we'd actually managed to reach out and get some interest from a couple other people. And yay, they're on the call. So that one's done. In terms of getting to the Monday IT meeting, I haven't reached out to BCARE yet, but maybe one of the guys on the call could give some feedback.
He travels a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He travels
Oh no,
like
I mean, so Curtis was on the meeting last week, but he wasn't aware of a Monday IT meeting. So maybe Justin or Jean is aware.
The only thing I know of that happens on Monday related to IT is this, which might be related to IT, is the sysadmin's local 1337, which I think MRZU started, and I don't actually know if it's going or not.
That meeting kind of doesn't. I don't know if it still happens. I think that if there's an agenda on by Friday, then it happens, and like I haven't seen one. And
I don't know what that meeting is.
the local 1337.
MRZ, it's the old team meeting that we used to do.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's my understanding that it happens before the project meeting on Mondays.
If it happens, like I said, I haven't seen it actually happen in a while.
Okay, so at least that's the meeting we're talking about.
Well,
yeah, because
it might be. I honestly don't know. I'm not in IT, so I don't actually know if there is an IT meeting that I'm not part of.
Okay. All right, I'll follow up. Again, thanks. Okay, so mark this one is done. Okay, so WordPress multi-site. Logan is not here this week. That's fine. I had an action start discourse thread, and that was about the potential downtime. So that was regarding the HP Cloud downtime.
Yeah, we did. I believe MLZ resolved that issue with all the accounts are back.
Awesome.
Really downtime. Services were up.
Yeah, that was just accounts. All the servers were still up.
Okay. All right, so let's skip down. Oh, yeah, Yusuf, you didn't have any previous action items besides that one, did you?
I'm not sure.
All right. So I'm going to skip down to the MCS module. Just a quick update. If you guys aren't on the community building team list, I followed up on discussion we had last meeting about getting support for a community sites module. Right now, we're running community sites. We were thinking of it under community IT, but there's a lot of potential for doing stuff with community sites besides IT. So I ran the idea past the community building team list of reviving a community sites group that has sub-modules like they have working groups. So community IT would be one, web dev could be one, security could be one. And that was very well received. And so that would be a good first step in getting more support for our project. So next steps, some good next steps. I don't know if... I guess we should discuss it on Discourse. I don't want to take too much time on the meeting. Bad in action for myself. And then the next thing on, the next thing on the agenda is from Tad, building community.
So basically, at the moment, we don't seem to follow any of Mozilla's community building guidelines. We don't have a pathway to entry. We don't have any set policies on who gets access, why they get access. And there just isn't any sort of way into the community at the moment. It's quite unorganised in that sense, which is a pretty strong reason why I don't think we've got much chance of building any sort of community at the moment. There simply isn't any entry points. So we need to come up with some sort of pathway and work out how we designate permissions to people. So who gets what access to what's the requirements to.
So I had created an idea of pathways, and I think I shared that with you some point ago, right? But a blocker to that is actually having systems for people to use to make the pathways, right? So we talked about this, having WordPress up, that's an entry place for people to actually administrate account setup and blog management, right? Having a monitoring system set up means people then can participate in doing resolution or pager duty, whatever. But to get those systems up, we needed some foundational pieces like Puppet. They didn't want to do one-off builds of anything. So
Right.
we're in this catch-22 loop, right? Without sufficient mentorship, it's really hard to build these tools to create entry paths. And we've talked about this before too.
Yeah, so realistically, the best first step to remove that barrier would be to bring in some more mentors, which is why it's so great that we've got Gene and Justin here. And I was thinking that maybe we could reach out to some other groups as well, like Lopsa, because I know myself and Tanner have both got Lopsa mentors already. And I know a lot of those guys actually know Puppet, they know monitoring, so they'd be able to try and help us where they can, I think.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I want to start, because we need to focus on these things that are blocking us, I want to start reinforcing my if it hasn't been discussed on discourse, it doesn't get discussed in the meeting rule. So these pathways and the blockers to pathways, is this documented anywhere? Like, is there a roadmap or a plan, either through Fabricator or an Etherpad, where we can track our progress?
That's what I mean.
It was an email to Tad some time ago. I can dig it back up where I kind of articulated all the entry points. But I think like we keep looking at like we can't get volunteers until we have entry points. And I don't necessarily agree with this contribution pathway as a blocker to get any volunteers.
So yeah, I would suggest for action points, first of all, digging up that email and dropping it into an Etherpad, so that is captured, and then maybe some of us should meet outside the regular meeting. Or one of the past meetings we were able to do, we were able to blow through the agenda in the first half hour, then we turn the second half hour into a working meeting. So maybe we'll be able to do that next meeting or sometime soon. So if you want to start a discourse threads or bump any discourse threads about this topic to make sure the conversation keeps happening, because yeah, this is important. We need to be able to tell people, here's how you can help us. Otherwise, they can't help us. Ooh, Firebot! Okay, who dropped this on? Benjamin, is that you?
What's that?
Dropping the animals into the Etherpad?
Yes, I'm terribly bored, sorry.
Okay. Don't make me pull this meeting over.
I got you to smile, so I achieved my mission.
All right. Yes, who added this Firebot entry? This is very interesting to me.
Yeah, that was me. So Noah, he's a Sumo contributor. He came into Community last night, a couple of many hours ago, and he showed us this blog post and said that this would be something we could do because Wolf doesn't want to maintain Firebot anymore, and he's going to be taking it offline. I think it was the end of this month, or start of next month. Yeah, start of next month.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that's maybe something we could do. We could just get it back up and hopefully keep it going. But from what the blog post says, there's quite a lot of work that needs to be done to get it sort of maintainable as opposed to just up.
So I spoke to Chris about 2 months ago about Firebot, which is when he first started thinking about getting rid of it because he's way too busy to be working on it now. And the whole problem is that it's not really a usable project anymore. It's ridiculously old. Everything on it is it's basically just a hacked piece of code that isn't actually anywhere. It's partially not existent. Firebot doesn't really exist online. It's a lot of just local edits that he's made just to keep it running. So that's going to make it really quite difficult to set up because there's no documentation for it really, other than how to set up Basis Mozbot, which isn't Firebot at all. So really, it's going to be a big project to take it over, and it's also one where we just have to set it up on one server and hope that it doesn't break. And if it does, we all scream and run.
So this is an interesting, very interesting project. Certainly, it would give us a pathway that people could jump in pretty quickly. I know Leo helped made the Remobot. So there's people who could help. Of course, like you said, it's very old and unmaintained. So I would suggest what we do is, again, sort of make a discourse thread and sort of enumerate the pros and cons.
Yeah, definitely. I just put it in as a last minute thing because it just come up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Awesome.
discourse thread is probably the way to go.
Yeah. But no, it's cool. Throwing it in real quick is just thinking about it. Because I could talk a little bit more. I have like some features. So one thing I'll throw out there, like one of the features it was really used for was looking up people's info. Well, we have Mozillians for that now. So what features are still being used, have been replaced, all that it would be good to enumerate in a discourse thread. Okay, so now we're at the point where we're at the projects we've actually been working on. I want to fix up this. Break this part out of the meeting notes, format it a little different, but discourse, any updates on discourse?
None in the last week. It's been working fine. We need to do the regular update. That should be about 5 minutes, but other than that, it's going well.
Okay, awesome. And Isinga, however you pronounce that, Isinga.
I think it is a singer, and Tanner's not here at the moment, so that's
the pronunciation is unknown. It's Zulu characters. Nobody knows how to pronounce it. They don't even know how to pronounce it.
Nice. And anyone know what the current status, or just a general, where are we with that?
With Isinga, I think that it works basically, but he started publicizing the hosts, I think, but he hasn't publicized the server yet. And I know there's been a few issues where we're running 2 web servers or something, and he only needs 1.
Okay. But I know we have a new volunteer working on it.
Oh yeah. So Puppet at the moment is going quite well actually. We've got quite a bit of Puppet done. We've got a new volunteer who's been absolutely amazing and already finished the WordPress module apart from a few little things like where the files go, what files we actually need and things like that. But yeah, we're going quite well with Pop for a bit. It's users, which is the big issue right now because it's currently impossible for people to change their password without logging into the Puppet server and manually going in and changing the password hash. So we've looked at a couple of options, and right now one of the options we have is to just get rid of passwords.
Okay. Next is Fabricator. I don't know if that needs what sort of regular updates that would need. It seems to be working.
Will used to manage Fabricator. I don't think anybody's taken that on, for instance.
I think we update it every so often. There's not really much on the sort of on that side to do really.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next item, general architecture. Is anything going on with that?
So there's Elder on there.
Yes.
Okay, keep going. And then WordPress, multi-site, Logan isn't here. Does anyone have any updates from him?
None that I know of, just that they're waiting on the security review for some of the plugins. Still, that's the last I've heard.
Okay. All right, and then this bugzilla.org item, should that still be in the notes, and is there any updates for it?
I think that can be moved underneath the WordPress multi-site because that's where it's going to be hosted now. Tanner and Logan have been working on that. They've got a skeleton site up at the moment, and things are going to start moving forwards as soon as they get SSL for that.
All right, so that's everything that's on the agenda. Did anyone have anything else they wanted to talk about?
None from me.
Nope.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, I think we're good then. Though I think we're going to have, when everyone comes next week, we'll have a little bit of a heavier meeting with more updates.
Oh, Tad said he lost connection. We'll see if he's going to come back.
Okay. Oh, that's what happened. He said yes, and then nobody said anything. So I was like,
Tanner.
something's. Oh right, Tanner's coming too. All right. Half an hour in. Tanner, we finished without you.
You're too late.
Did you really finish on time this time?
Well, because nobody was here to give all of their updates. But if you want to, let me see. You didn't have any action items.
Let me check
Trying to
out the
review them.
agenda.
We welcomed our mentors. Yusuf's going to make sure that they get Fabricator accounts so that they can see what kind of tasks exist for the kind of stuff they're interested in mentoring when they have time. But mostly like Puppet, monitoring. It's in the meeting notes. And then we did sort of that quick, if you have any updates on Discourse, Isinga, Puppet, or Fabricator, or WordPress multi-site, throw them out there.
I don't think I have anything, unless... No, I can't think of anything that's changed in the past week.
Okay, sounds good. So the other thing you missed that I didn't write down in the notes very well, I'll fix that up. Because we want to start actually like making progress towards goals, we should start before the meeting. Someone or several someones should go through the Fabricator tasks, and so that we're not triaging them in the meeting, but to make sure if there's any that are either being blocked or that need an owner or need a mentor. Anything that's stuck, have a list of those to raise in the meeting.
Okay.
And then there's a few discourse discussions to start and stuff like that. Tad, you're back?
Yeah, I've been back before.
Okay.
Where's Jan?
He said he couldn't make this meeting.
Oh.
I think he'll be back later, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's another meeting that's bi-weekly at the same time. So he doesn't come to everyone.
So where are we on the agenda now?
We were done.
Oh.
We just thought you might want to finish off what you were saying when you cut off.
Oh.
Oh.
So with LDAP, we don't really need LDAP if we can get rid of passwords, which is generally where I think we should be going, but we should definitely start a Discord thread on that. Because if we can get rid of passwords, then we don't need LDAP, basically.
You're really quiet, so can you repeat what you just said? I didn't catch anything other than get rid of passwords.
We don't need to maintain LDAP if we get rid of passwords.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, I just saw DNS.
Okay, cool.
Why did we want DNS? I never worked that out.
For internal sites, I think we wanted it so that we wouldn't have to manually update the host file every time we started a new server with like 20 IPs, and instead it would just be on DNS, and it would use those name servers for our internal services. I think that's what they wanted, at least. I'm not totally sure.
To me, that sounds like just an extra level of complexity, because we can, if we were to go ahead and set up a DNS server, we still have to go in every time and add the new servers in there. But that has to be done by Puppet anyway. So, what's the difference between that and running a host file with Puppet?
I'm not sure. Would the DNS server be like, if we have like 50 services on 50 servers, would it be easier to use DNS or the host file? I don't know.
Maybe we should start a discourse thread on what general architecture items should still be in the meeting notes.
Hmm.
Everything gets a discourse thread today.
Yeah. So what was happening was things weren't actually getting done and discussed outside of the meeting. So I sort of gave up on that rule a little bit for a little while. I was like, okay, they're going to be working meetings. But we're starting to get, again, we have mentors joining the meetings. So we want them to be a bit more faster paced, a bit more useful. And I also realized by doing all the discussion in meetings and on IRC, it's really hard for people to follow along on any discussions they missed. So we should really get more stuff into discourse where it's async. How come the meeting got done so fast? So.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, great.
Thanks for coming.
See ya.
Yusuf, are we counter-striking?
Yes, we are, actually.
Tanner,
If you give me like 10 minutes, I'm gonna find something to eat.
okay, 10 minutes it is.
Me and Leo found an amazing thing to do. We picked the smallest map, put 50 bots in it, and just yeah, it's quite chaotic.
All right. See you there on in a few.
All right, see ya. Hey Tad, did I tell you that thing about? Oh, were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh damn. Well, yeah. So basically,
Wait, wasn't he talking to you? Tanner?